on. There we go, that's better. What's up, guys? Finding Huggy here. I had a fan reach out. You're a fan, right?
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, sweet as. I had someone reach out over an Instagram DM about getting on the radio this morning. So shout out to what radio station we're on.
Radio Southland, 96.4 FM in Invercargill.
Let's go. So this is gonna be my first time on the radio, and I'm taking you guys along for the journey. Let's get into it. I'm good to go.
Sweet. This is Worldwide Wilson here on Radio Southland 96.4 FM and is a podcast on Spotify, iTunes and the Access Media.nz app. With me, of course, Wilson Ludlow. And here in the studio with me today, I am very, very excited to have a bit of a celebrity here in the studio with us today. With about 86,000 followers on TikTok, we have Finding Huggy here in the studio with us. Welcome to Invercargill.
Let's go. What's up? Good to be here. This is actually my first time on air on the radio, so thanks for reaching out, Wilson. Let's do this. Let's get into it.
No, absolutely my pleasure. When I saw that you were down in Invercargill, I'm like, right, I just have to take the opportunity. Life's all about taking those opportunities. Just flick you the message, and I will admit I was at work when I got the message from you saying that you were cool to come on the show, and I just about jumped through the roof and out of my work uniform. So, I'm super thrilled to have you in here. So let's get into it. Why don't you start by telling us about who you are and what it is exactly that you actually do?
Absolutely. So I do a lot of things. Basically what I am is I'm a TikToker, so you guys will see me on the TikTok app, of course. But what I do is I do giveaway videos and acts of kindness. So I love to pay it forward, and I like to bake that into my content. So I'm running around taking a crack at being an influencer and a video creator.
So in your experience as an influencer thus far, what would you say for you has been the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome, up to this point in your journey?
Yeah, biggest challenge. That's crazy to kind of think of because I haven't really had a moment to sit down and think about that, to be fair. It's been a whirlwind of creating the past year. Being consistent is probably the biggest note. So you definitely see a drop off in videos when you're not posting consistently. But I work to pay for the videos as well. So I bartend in between to afford my giveaway videos. So it's always hard to make that extra effort to create content after work, but it's definitely possible and anyone can get it done.
That's awesome. So you've been doing this, as you said, for around about a year or so now. So what actually led you to want to start doing this kind of thing, to kind of go on this journey of kindness and go around the whole world doing what you've been doing 100%. So far?
Yeah, it's kind of a long-winded story. I can shorten it up by saying that I ran some businesses in the past, and I wasn't overly happy with what I was creating and putting out in the world. And I was very blessed to suffer a brain injury, which is a crazy thing to say. But it really made me relook my perspective on life. And coming back out of it, I always wanted to make a run at making videos. And that dream of being a content creator, you just go after it. So I sold everything I had back in Canada and started making videos, making that positive impact. And it kind of baked in from there. But my story definitely wraps in a lot with mental health and some family history there. But it's beautiful to be able to spread that positive light moving forward.
When you say that you've got a big focus on kind of mental health and kindness, one of the biggest issues that I suppose people my age, just being recently 18 myself, people my age and people younger, that we face is being online and dealing with positive mental health. It's a huge issue, and you're going to see it. Anybody who goes to school in New Zealand will 100% know that there's a myriad of courses that you kind of go through to kind of promote different things around mental health and online well-being. To you, what is the most important thing that somebody can do to kind of balance out their mental health and also wanting to engage with other people online?
Yeah, so the first thing to really remember is that the internet's a beautiful tool and it's a reflection of what we put into it, right? So one of my biggest things is definitely put your focus into positive avenues online. Don't really stress the negative stuff, and you gotta really put your attention where you want it to bake back in. But with it wrapped in, I run into kids all the time that want to be creators themselves, or they want me to check out or shout out their social media accounts. And my biggest thing with TikTok and any sort of platform is to make the content that makes you happy. Don't ever look at the numbers. I personally have never really cared about the numbers. You you said I'm at 86,000. I really don't know the exact figure to this day. I just kind of don't really look at it. So it's what I really preach. And of course, there's those benchmarks of if you get past a certain point, you can dream of like what you can do more with the content. But at the end of the day, as long as you're making content that makes you happy, you're going to be winning.
Yeah, 100%. So would you say that in terms of kind of content creators, that you had any particular creators who were an inspiration for you? So like a lot of people might look at the likes of maybe Roman Atwood or maybe even Mr. Beast or PewDiePie as something that wants to spur them into creating content. For you, who were those people?
For sure. So way back in the day, you got the OG vlogger, Fun for Louie. He was definitely a big influence. And then what really kicked it off for me was Casey Neistat. Watching the way he just kind of story told his everyday life in such a beautiful way. I followed the daily vlogs for quite some time and always saw myself doing it. What a lot of people don't know about me is I made a run at being a content creator like 6 years ago while I was traveling the world. I started filming everyday vlogs and I was really happy with those vlogs, but I never posted them, which is a crazy thing. So having that turnaround time, like someone the likes of Casey Neistat, to post every single day and just get it done is really inspirational and something that I really attribute to what I do today, because I learned by error by not posting, and I actually lost a lot of that content.
So you've kind of talked about how your content's kind of always evolving, that you as a person and your journey, it's unpredictable. You can never expect where life is going. The kind of situation that's been happening globally this year has proven that anything can pop out of the blue. That aside, where would you like to see, maybe in 5 years' time, assuming that we don't have any more global pandemics, where would you like to see your content go? Like, what kind of goals would you like to see yourself hitting in the next few years?
100%. Yeah, so it's less about the goals about where I want my channel to hit. It's more about the type of content I want to create. So every day, I'm very aware of trying to make more inspiration giving back to strangers videos. So I want to show a lot more humanity in my content in the videos to come. One of my favorite videos to date is I was in a book sale and this kid was asking his mom to buy a box set of books and she said no because it cost too much money. So I went ahead and bought the set of books and I approached the mom and asked if I could give it to her son, and that was one of my most beautiful videos. I love that. It's way better than, the videos throwing Bluetooth speakers over my shoulder definitely get a ton of attention, but I definitely want to do some more community videos. And with that said, one of my biggest plans is I'd love to spread a message of strangers or friends you haven't met yet. So to get the Find It fam out there, meeting each other, doing some cool meetups, doing a Find video where I just like climb a mountain and say, come up here. And everyone who comes up here, you never know. It might be like a dance party and free soda pop. Who knows? But it's just like bigger, more ambitious videos, getting some community together.
That is, honestly, that's the kind of thing that people my age, I think, really need to hear. That's the kind of content that we want to see out there, because if we're being completely honest here, there's a lot of people out there who are might be posting this kind of clickbait content out there, kind of posting this heavily filtered or edited content that isn't really a true reflection of people or themselves. And so the fact that you're out here and you're presenting such a kind message and a true representation of yourself and the way that you want to see the world, I think that's really awesome. And I think that's the kind of content that we really need to see more of there out online.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for saying
that.
No
worries. But speaking of global pandemic, so you came into New Zealand not long before this whole thing started. So how have you found the likes of the 8-week lockdown? Because you kind of just bounce around the place. You've got your pineapple van that you kind of go around the place with. So how did you find the likes of the 8-week lockdown? What did you do? How did that affect you?
Yeah, I feel like it's really it's hard to look in and say how it affected me, because it affected the whole world. Like, everybody had to go through it in their own way. The world just went on pause, as everyone knows. I'm just very fortunate that I was here in New Zealand and it was a short lockdown in the grand scheme of things. Now, it definitely derailed my ambitions and what I had planned for the next 3, 6 months to a year. I'm actually supposed to be in the US right now as we speak. I was working with a camper van company to drive across the US and hit every state to make TikToks. And of course, going over to the US to make TikToks, TikTok's has a little more traction over there. So I would have had a lot more success with my videos, but I'm so grateful that during this whole pandemic, I was fortunate enough to be in New Zealand, and now I get to tour around and hit places like Invercargill that I never even would have considered traveling to before, because I was only supposed to be here on a short period of time. I was only supposed to be here 3 months.
Yeah, so it's all about, as you're saying, kind of finding those little golden moments and things. For me, this interview is one because kind of my COVID stories, listeners of the show will know that I was actually supposed to be in Japan about now for a 3-month exchange that I won a scholarship for. Yeah. And when the start of COVID...
Congrats on that. Sorry, COVID muffed that up, but congrats. That's hard work. Yeah. Young hustler getting it.
Yeah, COVID came in and messed that up, and so, I was pretty gutted about that. But, it's little things like, getting, you in to come in on the studio with me today.
Let's go. It's an Instagram DM. You reached out, you did the work. Once again, man. Young hustler. Here we go. That's why I'm on the show.
Follow those Gary V videos on TikTok,
absolutely.
Reach out. But it's about finding those little positives in things, and I think that's definitely something that the world needs to take more notice of. Kind of the message that we keep getting from our Prime Minister, throughout this whole kind of COVID-19 thing.
Fantastic message.
Be kind. Just be kind to one another, and that involves being kind to yourself.
Absolutely.
When these negative things happen, or these things that you didn't expect to happen come up, it's about finding those little positive twists.
100%. So, and they don't have to be negatives. They might present themselves as negatives right in your face at the beginning, but it's all in perspective. It's all in how you rebake it and what you do with it. So there's opportunity everywhere. As you know, like you mentioned Gary V, just a quick sidebar. He said my name on one of his live streams, and I fangirled. I geeked out and jumped up the roof. I called my mom. It was just, I'm not a fan moment. I have never had that moment with anyone else. That man checks a lot of boxes for me. So yeah, Gary V. If you don't already know, check that boy out.
Yeah, man. I'm sure after that you'll be kind of motivated to hit up every kind of garage sale and buy up all the soft toys and Hot Wheels that you could ever think of. One question I did want to ask you is about your pineapple brand. Because radio is an audio platform, they might not necessarily be able to understand the origins of the pineapple thing. It's a bit hard to see as well, but I've got some pineapple socks on.
Yes, he's rocking the pineapple socks. Get out of here.
Yeah, I
respect those.
Just out for today. I had to get the pineapple socks out because I'm like, oh, right, it's finding Huggy. So
let's go.
Do you want to explain to people the origins kind of your pineapple brand?
100%. So it all goes back into kind of the mental health and kindness thing as well, and making your image online. So with my persona and the way I look, a lot of people started to say I look like a pineapple wearing sunglasses. And the funny thing with that is the very first person to mention that was actually trying to throw hate at me. They were trying to diss me. Did I just say diss? That is cute. But anyways, they were trying to bully me online. And I thought it was hilarious because A, it's true. And B, I love pineapples. So I leaned right into it. I made it part of my branding. My fans at the time got behind it. And now you'll just see pineapple and sunglass emojis pop up all over the streams. We're actually in a live stream right now on TikTok. So if you guys on the live stream, I'm talking to you, blast some pineapples in the chat. Radio won't be able to see it, but it'll give me some energy to continue
I'm sure
on.
They can envision it in their minds, just sunglasses and pineapples, kind of falling down all over the place. If people wanted to kind of come up with their own brand, because personal branding, people like Gary, they talk about that as kind of one of the key selling points to starting up your own business, your own social media persona. What would be some advice that you'd give to somebody who was kind of looking to start up their own personal brand?
100%. I'll take it one step further. It's not if you want to start a business or your own brand or sell something. In 2020, everybody needs to be doing some form of brand creation content online. It's just the way the future's going. So if you want to get a good job in the future, if you want to finance a car, it's coming. People want to know who you are. So make your statement, start recording, whether it's audio, video, written. You don't have to be good at it. Just start documenting your process and just start. I took way too long to start. Like I said previously, I traveled around for 6 years filming daily vlogs that I never posted. And I thought they were really great, but I never shared them with the world. So that was one of my biggest regrets, is not starting sooner. So just start. It doesn't have to be good, doesn't have to be perfect. Just start.
Because yeah, I think that kind of ties back into that social media thing. There is that you see the finished product for a lot of people. You don't see necessarily that hard work that's been going, and you don't see that that 6 years of traveling around the world filming
100%.
vlogs.
Yeah.
You just see that finished product. So people just expect. I know that I'm not perfect either. I do this myself. Is that I'll start
I
something.
am far from perfect, my friend. So this is not a finished product. I'll just tell you this, but it's I'm looking forward to the everyday growing a little, right? So you have projects you haven't finished. You'll get around to them, but just start.
Yeah.
Just chewing it. Like we're sitting here right now. You're crushing it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Never would I have imagined that, 5-6 years ago when I started the show that, this is where I'd be, just randomly sending people, a message on Instagram, getting them into the studio. Because,
100%, man.
I've always wanted, whether I actually want to pursue radio or not in the future, that's remains to be seen. But, one of the things I always wanted to do is I wanted to talk to, cool people, want to talk to and interact with interesting people. You see all those, talk show hosts who are out there interacting with all of these amazing people on a daily basis. You're like, man, I want to talk to cool people too. I want to ask some funky questions. I want to get right in there. I want to spread my own message. So
and it's crazy how that happens. You just start talking to people and you start, right? So it goes just back to starting, man. And you said 5-6 years ago you didn't know if you'd be here, but like, hey, you started, and I look forward to where this takes you, where you keep going with it. Because it might not be radio for you. Like you said, it might be something completely different. But I hope you enjoyed your time, because I'm so completely enjoying my time sitting here with you too.
I'm so glad to hear it. And so kind of thinking about it now, like looking back, it's kind of funny to look back on things because the show was called Worldwide Wilson, and so the origins actually of the name Worldwide Wilson was I thought it would be really funny if I ever got big enough that I'd need my own website.
Yeah.
That the website URL would be www.www.com.
Yeah.
So that's and so I just swapped out web for Wilson, so I got Worldwide Wilson because I wanted to create this kind of global platform and wanted to have this kind of funny URL if I ever came up with a website. So it's all about just starting, even if it's just a weird little concept like that.
100%. It's crazy. Like going back to weird concepts, the namesake Finding Huggy. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually started. I changed my Instagram to Finding Huggy 6-7 years ago, right? And that was with the ambition of creating YouTube videos where I'd travel to a random place in a random country and just film YouTube videos of me going about my day until somebody guessed in the comments where I was, and then I was going to fly them out to meet me. Now this was like, I've made it, I can do this, I'll have the funds and somebody will actually guess where I am and engage. And I just reverse engineered it, man. Like I started doing the giveaways right here before nobody knew who I was, and we worked backwards, and it was just really cool. So it's crazy how you start with one idea and it just beautifully turns into something else, or just gives you a lot of experience and sweat equity to use into lessons for something else.
Yeah, and definitely this is it's really cool for me hearing this because I've got I think maybe 4 or 5 months left down here in Invercargill before I head off to university next year, and so
congrats on that. Good luck with that.
Yeah, so that's going to be a whole new journey for me. It's a lot of people perceive something like that as like a fresh start, new city, new people, new friends, new environment. So getting to hear kind of messages like this, it's always just a good little reminder for me to go, hey, it's you can try these things. Just because it's a new place doesn't mean that you don't have to stop doing what you love doing.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean that you can't try new things.
Can totally see you with the setup in your dorm room, man, or doing something completely different. Like that's what uni's about. Taste everything.
Yeah, who knows? I might be going around bugging people with my phone.
Let's go.
Random on campus interviews with people. Anything like that could happen. And so
where are you going to uni in 5 months?
Hopefully Otago University, assuming that I pass all of my exams at the end of this year, COVID permitting.
For sure.
That's the plan. I'm actually a little bit nervous for the latter half of this week because we find out things like scholarships and whether we get to stay in one of our university halls up there. So it's a pretty exciting week for me and all of my friends at the moment. So it's that precipice of kind of the new age for everybody else. But I think one of the things that people can definitely take away from what you've been saying today is that you don't necessarily have to wait for that, opportunity like university to go around and make those changes. You can just make that change now. I think one of the hardest things for people is kind of breaking out of that mold or that kind of
that's an understatement. That's an understatement. That is the hardest thing to do in life. The absolute hardest thing to do is to break out of that mold. And too many people spend their whole lives in that mold. And one of the things that I take a lot of lessons from talking to people around me, right? So that's one of my favorite things about traveling. I talk to the elders and the older people, the people in the community that have lived. And that is their biggest regret, is like not picking up the clarinet when they were 12. It's never the car they missed out on or the show they didn't go see. It's that taste, that breaking that mold of regular society. So I always promote just going after it no matter what, and leave everything on the table.
Yeah, no, definitely. And kind of going into you a little bit more, what's something that you really want to, do, and, whenever, what's, something that maybe up to this point you haven't done, but it's something that you've always kind of wanted to do. Maybe it might be, playing the clarinet or something like that. For you, what would that, little thing be?
Yeah, no, there's a ton of little things that I'll build up. I'm a big advocate of the bucket list. So I have the daily bucket list. There's a couple apps I use for it, but even just using your notes. Anytime an idea pops in my head, even if it's like lose a fight or get punched in the face, it goes on my bucket list, right? And I'm a big advocate of crossing it off. Now, it has definitely changed with TikTok being at the forefront of my life. I'm always content driven and looking to create new TikTok videos every day, so that takes up a lot of my energy. But in the past, before TikTok, I was trying to check off one of those things almost every day. But it's just been something that's been on the back burner. So thank you for that question, because I gotta go open up my app and see what I can knock off today.
But, I hope you can get a few things done despite the weather and all. Really, one question that I did just have is a favourite country that you've been to, because you've been to a lot of places. Now, I want you to be honest. It doesn't have to be New Zealand, but
yeah, for sure.
Kind of,
New Zealand's in the top 5. I'll let you know that.
That's good. That's good. But what would the favourite country that you've been to? And do you want to just elaborate on that and why it's your favourite country?
Yeah. So I get this question a lot. Like, I used to get this question even before I had a following, just from the amount of countries I visited. Now, I haven't been to a crazy amount of countries, but I've been to about 40 countries so far, and I do have a goal of visiting every country in the world. Shout out Counting Countries. They have a wicked Instagram account. They tried to break the world record to go to every country in the world this year, but COVID mucked that up for them, as things do. But they're expecting a baby. They're awesome people. But enough about them. Love you, Jordan and Chloe. But enough about them. Favorite country? That was the question. And I get this question a lot, but I don't really have an answer to it, unfortunately, because you get so much diversity in each country. Every country is your favorite for certain things. You like the food here, you like the scenery here. I've never found a mixed blend of like, this is it, this is where I'm going to live. But I loved Cambodia, I loved Greece, I loved a ton of places. But it comes back to the moments, the people you meet. So it's more about the people you meet and the relationships you build than the places you are. And that's been the biggest humbling lesson from traveling the world. And other creators such as Counting Countries would say the exact same thing. They just put out a beautiful video about how after traveling to nearly every country in the world, they restored their faith in humanity. And there's beautiful people in every country they've visited. So that's kind of my long-winded answer. I don't have a go-to, like, go to this country. I just say, grab your passport, start putting stamps in them, and get out there. See the world.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, I think kind of everybody always has this aspiration that they want to get out and see the world, because even with the internet giving us this amazing access to perceive these views from so many different people.
I remember when Google Maps came out, bro. I'd spend hours just scrolling through Google Maps, just looking at the world. And that was how I traveled the world as a youth. And you always have that dream of like doing it yourself. And I was very fortunate enough that I prioritized that. I worked really hard and I started doing it at a young age. But my biggest takeaway is you don't have to leave your backyard to have those experiences. There's amazing people everywhere. There's amazing people in your home city. Just start interacting with strangers, because that's the lesson you end up coming home with the rest of the world anyways. But you got to get out there and do it yourself, of course, because you won't believe it from me.
Yeah, no, definitely. If there was one country that in the next couple of years you wanted to go to, one country that you haven't been to,
Okay.
what would you say? What country would you say that would have to be?
Yeah, so since you said the next couple of years, I'm looking at, Sri Lanka? I'm probably saying that wrong, Sri Lanka. Just because there's so many other travelers that I've met on my journey that are saying it's still quite untouched. And I've seen it happen with places like Thailand and Indonesia, where over a course of 5-6 years, it completely changes. We don't focus enough on sustainable tourism, and we destroy a lot of the paradises we like to visit. So I want to go to Sri Lanka and just try and set up some form of sustainable tourism through my content. So that's another thing I'd like to advocate in the future is helping people enjoy our world sustainably.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that you kind of talk about that sustainable aspect of things. I've got quite a few of my friends down here in Invercargill who are involved both locally and nationally with some of the really big student league climate change movements, around the place. What would be one kind of little tip that you think everybody could do just to help with that kind of sustainable tourism, just to help save the planet? Just what's one little piece of advice that you'd give people that can just a small little change that they could make to help with this grand plan?
Yeah, so the very smallest simple thing you can do when you're traveling to a new destination is try and meet some locals, some true locals that have nothing to do with the tourist industry. So I've been very blessed in the past to be able to do that in Asia. You'll see me land in a city, and I get out of the city as quick as possible. I try and go to more rural places and actually meet a local that may not speak English, that very rarely has interactions with tourists, and just support them. Buy some fruit off of them. Try and talk to them. Just learn about their culture. We don't take emphasis enough on learning about culture while we travel. A lot of the times we just kind of see the sights and do the tourist things and eat at the buffets and go party a bit more than some of us like to. But which is all great in doses, but try and meet some locals. Maybe do those things with a local. Take a local that can't afford to go to see the temple. And that's my biggest thing, to just a simple step to try and meet one local a day.
Yeah, and I think if you go to meet the locals as well, then you're going to get an entirely new perspective on things, because you might have had friends who've gone to that country before, but if you go to a local, these are the people who've lived in this area. They know this area. They know all the good little spots. They know where to go. I
could talk about hours about secret locations I've found just getting lost with a random bunch of Thai guys or anywhere else in the world, and that's something I really push.
Yeah, well, if who knows exactly what you might find, and it's that different perspectives thing. I think for me, kind of my goal in life is to understand the perspectives of so many different people. I want to see the world from other people's eyes. I want to understand how these different situations are impacting people.
I love it. You hear that out of a lot of great interviewers.
Oh.
I've seen it. I've actually watched a lot of interviewers extensively. I follow it. I've seen so many success stories out of people with the same curiosity as yourself. So sorry to cut you off, but keep going.
No, it's all good. But yeah, it's my goal is to go see these different perspectives, and I think that you could go and get just that general view that you get from maybe just going on a general tour or something. You're going to get this entirely different view that is not available on that commercial market. It's the memories and experiences that money cannot buy.
Yeah.
That you really want to get out there in life and really find, enjoy, and experience. So
absolutely,
I definitely think that you've got the right idea, and that a lot more people definitely need to follow that kind of thing, because I'm sure there's been plenty of online trends like the secret swing and stuff like that, where people have just found these little spots
and they blow it
up and then
destroy it. You'll see me a lot where when I am traveling to these secret locations and hanging out with locals, my videos in the past will focus on the local storytelling, not the location. You'll never see me show the location, because I've seen content creators do it before. Like, this is amazing until I post this video and it's absolutely destroyed. But yeah, you hit it right on the head, and that's how we have to interact with people more while we travel and tap into the locals.
Cool. So just before we bring things to an end here, I wanted to talk just about TikTok as a platform, because one of the, I suppose, kind of the successes about TikTok is that it always has something new. The kind of content and the meta content on TikTok is always changing. There's always kind of a new trend, a new something to get on TikTok and do. How do you see that kind of? Do you see it at all even impacting on your content and how the app might go in the future and where that might push you maybe onto other platforms or just see you evolving within the app itself?
Yeah, so I look at TikTok as a launching platform. I'm very grateful for the community and what I've been able to build on it. But there's so many different avenues, even in live streaming. I see live streaming as a really big opportunity people aren't capitalizing on. Like, I'm on a TikTok live stream right now as we talk. And because of that, quick shout out to VV Norris 12 for the donos. That's very humbling. You guys don't have to donate to me on my lives, but thanks. I find it fam strong. But yeah, it's a big opportunity people are missing. And there's so many different ways you can bake into live streams to make them interactive. Like, I like to do different concepts with live streams myself and kind of push the needle. Yesterday, I did a live stream in the warehouse parking lot, Infocargo warehouse parking lot. I bought the new pineapple van. 15 minutes later, I was on a live stream sitting in the parking lot saying, come meet me. And we filled that van full of fans, and it made their day. It made my day. I ended up going to a barber shop after and getting a fresh cut. Shout out Georgetown Barbers. I'm just plugging everybody here, but it is an absolutely fantastic opportunity in this live stream that I feel like people aren't capitalizing on.
Yeah, no, definitely. You've plugged a lot of other people during this interview. So just before we bring things to an end, do you want to shout yourself out? Because you really are doing a lot of amazing things. You're producing a lot of content that I love to really take it in. And it's always exciting, kind of watching you going around hiding these things, interacting with other people, and just enjoying yourself. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I enjoy about your content personally. Is it always looks like you're enjoying it.
I'm
you're
so glad
having
it bleeds
fun,
through.
And it's
can't
genuine.
understate how much fun I'm having.
Yeah.
I'm so glad it bleeds through. You should see me right before I post a video. I get the jitters. I start jumping up because I've been running around having fun all day, and then it finally cuts into an edit. So yeah, absolutely, I have fun. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to plug my own channel. I mean, at Finding Huggy on all social media and things like that. But I'm a very big believer in if people will come to my content naturally. I don't really have to push and plug it all over the place and throw it in people's face. If people are enjoying the content, then they want to share it with their friends, and that's how I end up ultimately growing. So the best way I can grow is to make content that makes me happy, and if people vibe with it, cool. And if not, then I just got to make more content.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the core of it, really. Just do what makes you happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think everything that we've kind of talked about in here, like kind of all these little messages that we've had, it all comes down to, do what makes you happy. So if for all the people listening, either on the live stream or listening to the podcast right now, get out there and just simply do what makes you happy. You have been listening to Worldwide Wilson here on Radio Southland 96.4 FM and as a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and the accessmedia.nz app. Huggy, thanks for coming in, man.
That is a crispy radio voice. I gotta kudo that before we run off here. I can't let him finish like that. That was too crispy. That was too clean. Squeaky clean with those pineapple socks. I respect it, brother. I respect the hustle.
Thank you very
Pleasure
much, man.
to be here.